Senator Flake abandoned his re-election bid 2 weeks ago, but since then, only one Republican has stepped up to take on Kelli Ward in the party primary next year. Jay Heiler has never run for office before, but he is well known in the world of Arizona politics and has some big-name backers behind him. Jay Heiler joins us this morning. Welcome to Square Off.
Thanks,
Good
Bram.
to see you. So you formed an exploratory committee. Why don't you just jump in, get in the race?
Well, I'm probably getting pretty close, but you know, before you do a thing like this, you got to really make sure that you can stand up a campaign that'll deliver for the people of Arizona, and so that's what we've been working on.
Is the issue that you're a sitting member of the Board of Regents and you'd have to give up your seat if you ran?
No, that's not really the issue. The issue is just really making sure that the support exists for you to do this and that your own family is ready to support you to go do it and that you can rearrange your life. But even more than that, it's really just thinking it through and making sure that you have a strong, cogent reason for your candidacy. And so I think everybody owes that to the public before they launch into a race for the U.S. Senate.
And as I said, you do have some big names behind you. Former Governor Jan Brewer is chair of your campaign. Former Governor Fife Symington is treasurer.
Yes.
Is that right? You have some pretty big money behind you as well. Some names folks might not realize, but people like me know who the big donors are.
A number of other folks have signed on since we announced that committee, so that committee is now doubled in its membership and its, I think, its strong standing in the community.
So Jeff Flake made it clear the price of entry in the Republican primary is loyalty to President Trump. Kelli Ward says she's been told President Trump loves her. Does President Trump love you?
Well, I'm confident that he will love me. I have been a strong advocate for the policies that he's advanced for our country and for Arizona, and I concur with them. So I hope he does love everybody. You know, he's our president. He should have a deep well of affection for all God's children.
But how do you distinguish yourself from Kelli Ward, who is all in with Trump and has been for a long time, and here you are showing up and you would need Trump support? How do you separate yourself?
Well, I don't intend to separate myself around the president. I intend to just run a campaign, if we get in this, that enunciates a set of principles and directions for our state. Arizona is now one of the 15 largest states in the country, Bram, and it's only going to get larger. It's a very significant place, and it's going to need new leadership in the United States Senate. It's going to have new leadership in the United States Senate, and that will determine in many ways the future of our state and the things that we're able to achieve. So I'm looking at this to fight for Arizona. I believe we need senators. You only get 2 senators, and every state gets 2 senators, and they need to be back there fighting for their state. And they need to be in touch with what's happening in their state and what their state needs today and what it's going to need tomorrow. And so I'm interested in that. I'm interested in being an advocate for the state of Arizona in the Senate.
The Arizona Republic reported that when Steve Bannon was here for Kelli Ward, you spoke to Bannon. Can you confirm that? And what did you talk about?
Yeah, I can confirm it. I had a very nice conversation with Mr. Bannon. He's a very interesting fellow.
Is he going to come over to your side?
He's very bright. I have no idea. That would be up to him. You'll have to ask Mr. Bannon about that. But I really enjoyed getting to know him, and I think he's passionately committed to the things that he's doing. He believes, as I do, that we have a political class in this country that has lost touch with its responsibilities and lost touch with the people that it represents in many cases. I have had that same belief for a long time, and I have seen it up close. And so,
stop there a sec. You have seen it up close.
Yeah.
You're a lobbyist. You run a charter school, Great Hearts Charter School, that has many government folks on the board. You've run campaigns. How can you separate yourself from that political class, which you've been connected to for many years?
Well, it really comes down to one word, Bram. It's called service. And so I started my service to Arizona as an assistant attorney general back in 1986 when I got out of law school. I continued my service to Arizona on the staff of Governor Fife Symington, where he and I together and the rest of our team advanced a lot of policies that have been continuing to deliver for the people of Arizona in education, in law enforcement, in tax reduction and economic growth. And so I then continued my service in private life, as you mentioned, creating Great Hearts Academies 15 years ago with 130 students in a leased church building. And it now serves nearly 15,000 students in our state and in Texas. And we are delivering people literally a world-class public education, tuition-free, on roughly $6,500 a year of public investment per student across the entire time of our existence. So if you accused me of actually doing things to serve the public and uplift our communities, there would be enough evidence to convict. And so that's what I will be running on. And I believe that's what the public is crying out for from people in public life and in high office. They want to see people delivering.
I want to end real quick with a question tied to Great Hearts in my last discussion with Adrian Fontes. Great Hearts, I know my son attended one of the schools. High ethical standards, high moral standards. Do you think President Trump is a good example for your students? Well,
I'm very proud, first of all, that your son attended one of the schools. That does my heart good every time I hear that, and of course I hear it quite often now. I think that President Trump is like the rest of us. He isn't a perfect man. And I think that he has made mistakes in his own life that he has owned up to in many cases. And so who cares? He's now the President of the United States. The election is over. And one of the things that people need to get through their heads about politics today is that when the people speak, the elected officials need to honor what they've said. And so the President is the President. He won the election. And we need to get behind our president, and we need to get his agenda enacted.
All right. Jay Heiler, best of luck to you.
Thank you, Bram.